This week we got a new open weight model that is really impressive. We got some cool new video editing tools, an AI image generator that promises consistent characters, and so much more this week. I don't want to waste your time, so let's get right into it, starting with this new large language model called GLM 4.5. Now, when I first came across this model, I was actually going to push it towards the end of the video because I'm not really that into models that just show like marginal improvements over what we've already got. I mean, if we look at this new GLM 4.5 model, it is an open weight model, meaning that you can download the weights and use them on your own computer, or you can run them on a cloud computer and do whatever you want with them. And it holds up against the state-of-the-art models that are out there. So if we do look at these benchmark charts here, we can see this GLM 4.5 performs almost as well as Grok 4 and ChatGPT's O3, and actually performed better than Claude 4 Opus on agentic reasoning and coding benchmarks. Again, I personally pay less and less attention to benchmarks. I want to see something that when I use it, I'm just genuinely impressed by it. And this model, when I went and used it for the first time, I was genuinely impressed by it, especially for an open weight model that's freely available for anybody to use. You can actually head on over to Z.ai and use this fully for free. And one of the party tricks of this model that is really cool is that it can create slide decks. You select AI slides here, you can see that it will use image search, web search, and slide maker to actually make you a slide deck. Just for fun, I gave it the prompt, a slide deck about how birds aren't real. And look, it went through and did all of this research for me and then built out a slide deck. So it searched for information on the birds aren't real movement, visited Wikipedia, continued to read Wikipedia, visited the New York Times, read a 60-minute article about it, searched for relevant images, searched for images of the founder of the movement, then started to create the slide deck. And then you can see it created the first, second, third, etc. slides. And when all was said and done, it made this slide deck that genuinely impressed me. So you can see it's got birds aren't real, the satirical conspiracy theory, some explanation about it. I love this little saying, if it flies, it spies. Details about the founder and the origins, and it even put a picture of the founder here with like a quote and details about him. Key claims and evidence. It's actually got a picture of a fake bird here with like the conspiracy details and the evidence presented, the growth and cultural impact, 1 million followers. I mean, these slides actually look like decent slides. The satirical nature with more details, more photos, and then the final slide here. So it made 6 slides, but they're all really good looking. For comparison, a few weeks ago, I had ChatGPT generate a slide deck, and this was the slide deck that it generated. So you can see the slides are all just white rectangles with some black text. Yeah, there's some charts and stuff here, but they don't look anywhere near as good as what this new model created for a slide deck. Like, to me, these slides look really impressive. It's also really good at writing code and just like one-shotting whatever app you want it to create. For example, create a clone of Vampire Survivors in JavaScript that I can play in the browser. I'll go ahead and submit this prompt here, and we can see that it is a thinking model, so it's going to think through, and now it's just starting to write the code for me. And as it's doing that, I should mention that this model is extremely fast and so far totally free to use. I mean, there hasn't been anywhere where it's asked me to pay to use it. I'm using it directly on their website, using their servers, their cloud, no payment whatsoever. Now, they do have an API, so my guess is they're going to generate revenue by getting people to use the API. But here we go. Here's the game. This is one-shotted, and we can see it's making a little flash circle that is like hurting the enemies as they get closer to me. I could dodge the enemies. Now, it obviously doesn't have the graphics of Vampire Survivors. I didn't give it any graphics to play with, but the concept is there. I mean, it's a swarm of enemies coming towards the character, and the character just auto fires its weapon and hurts the enemies that get near it. And then I collect little XP points. And then let's put on throw knives. Let's see if it actually does throw knives. Look at that. It throws the knives, and we've got a weapon that's shooting in 4 different directions now, and I'm leveling up. Let's use garlic, and it's worked. This was one shot. I literally gave it no other prompts. So if I wanted to now, I can go and can replace all the little dots with actual like character graphics, but the actual gameplay of the Vampire Survivors like bullet hell style of game works. Like one prompt and it worked. Like it's really, really good. And it's an open weight model. Like this model is blowing my mind right now. Again, I tend to not get in the weeds whenever there's a new large language model that comes out that feels marginally more impressive than what was already there. But this one feels like way more impressive, especially for an open weight model. So really, really cool model, GLM 4.5. You can play around with it over at Z.ai. You will have to log in. You can use your Google login to get in, but it's really, really impressive. Next up, let's talk about AI video editing. Runway just released a new feature called Aleph. I think it's Aleph. And it's a feature where you can feed it a video and then tell it what you want to edit about the video, and it will edit just that thing about the video. So if I log into my Runway account, supposedly this is rolled out for all paid accounts. I don't think it's in the free account, but if you're on any of the monthly paid plans, it should work. And they recommend using it in chat mode. So let's give it a video. I want to give it this clip from Top Gun Maverick and make him flying around in space instead of the sky. Let's just try that first. Let's give it the prompt, put this in space being chased by an alien spaceship. Let's see what it does. And here's what that looks like. I mean, he's definitely in space. Not seeing the alien spaceship, but it put the jet in space. Maybe that little light there, I'm like pointing at my screen, like you could tell where I'm pointing, is the alien spaceship. I mean, it did a pretty good job of putting a guy in a jet fighter flying in space, but I'm not really seeing the alien spaceship, but it's still pretty impressive. Let's try this clip here from The Flash where he's got all the babies on the table, but let's replace the babies with a giant sandwich. Pull this clip in, replace the babies with one giant hoagie sandwich. And here's what that looks like. I mean, it worked. It left a couple babies there, but it worked. So this stayed exactly the same. And then it switched to The Flash showing off a giant sandwich with a couple babies still hanging out next to the sandwich. But I mean, it worked. It did what it was supposed to. That's pretty fun. All right, now I want to take this like iconic clip from The Shining where he's like chopping at the door here. And instead of chopping at a door, let's have him chopping a tree. I'll toss this in here and just give it the prompt. The man is chopping a tree in the forest. And well, I think this one went off the rails a little bit. It's not quite what I was anticipating. But for the most part, it seems really good at changing the environment something is in, like taking somebody that's in the sky and putting them in space, and changing like single elements from within a video, like replacing babies with a sandwich, but taking a whole scene and trying to like make him chopping a tree instead of chopping at a door didn't quite seem to work. But still, this opens up a lot of potential of things that you can do with this model. On X, I've seen some really cool and fun use cases like Christopher here, who basically gave a prompt to remove the woman but keep the eye. And you can see the original video was like a woman standing there, and then now it's just an eye floating there. Apparently it's really good at reimagining angles of existing videos. So Omri here said, one of my favorite capabilities of Runway Aleph is how it combines new camera angles with next shot generation. So here's the original video of two people looking at each other, but then they were able to make a new angle where the man's talking, and then another angle where the woman's talking, and then one where the man proposes marriage using an avocado. And all of this was based on this original video here. So another really cool use case. If you are a business owner or run a SaaS company, this one seems really practical. Andy here says the source video can be a screenshot and 3D camera movement. He spent about 2 minutes in After Effects just sort of making the screenshot rotate in 3D space. And then he provided a mock-up image of a laptop, and it put the SaaS product inside of that mock-up where you can see it like actually on a laptop. So pretty cool, helpful use case if you're making like ads for your software business or something. The company Luma Labs this week also rolled out a similar feature called Modify with Instructions. And it looks like the same kind of idea. You give it an input video, you give it some instructions of what you want it to do, and it changes the video in those ways. So it can change the environment. It can take a dancing video and, you know, turn it into other scenes of people dancing, relight, all of the same kinds of things. And well, I tested it out with the same kind of concepts. I took the Top Gun Maverick clip and said, put him in space being chased by an alien spaceship. And well, this one actually did a fairly good job. You can see on the left, the jet's flying around, and we can actually see a spaceship behind him looking like it's chasing him in both of these. And it actually kept the sound too. If I hover over these, you'll hear the sound. So for this particular prompt, it did a pretty decent job of taking that clip and putting him in space being chased by an alien. I then gave it the second one, and well, that one went off the rails a little bit here. You can see there's a woman screaming, and then there's a giant sandwich, and then the woman screaming again, but it just sort of like reimagined everything. It looks like it's a completely different scene. The Flash is gone. We actually have like a lady in pink now instead of the Flash. The sandwich had like a baby head in it right there or something. So yeah, it didn't work for that at all. And then when I gave it the shot from The Shining where he's supposed to be chopping a tree, it just sort of like reskinned the same video, and he looks like he's just chopping a door, but like in a different environment. And one thing I noticed about the Luma Dream Machine is that you can click on modify and then give it a video, and then you can adjust the strength. And if the strength is all the way up, it's gonna make like pretty much a completely new video and not follow the original at all. And if you bring it all the way down, you're gonna get like what we see here in this Shining video, where it pretty much matched the original video pretty dang closely, just kind of changed what the environment looks like a little bit. So that's something that you can play with and tweak until you get the output that you're looking for. But again, between Luma and Runway, we can now take any video and tweak it, put people in different environments, change objects within the image, add additional objects that weren't in the original video. So many opportunities to do really cool things with your videos.
I want to pause real quick to talk about something that I think is pretty important. You know, it's easy to take clean water for granted until you imagine a world where it's not a tap away. No showers, no cooking, no safe drinking water. And for 1 in 10 people on Earth, that's everyday reality. And that's why for this video, I partnered with TeamWater, a massive global campaign led by creators like Mr. Beast and Mark Rober, aiming to raise $40 million to bring clean water to 2 million people. Now, I know this channel is all about tech and AI and the future, but here's the thing. What good is progress if it doesn't benefit everyone? Clean water is one of the most impactful, scalable technologies on the planet. It powers health, education, productivity, even innovation. And this campaign isn't about handing out bottled water or drilling random wells. It's about working with local communities to build sustainable infrastructure, solar-powered pumps, piped water systems, even smart filtration and remote monitoring tech. Just $1 gives one person clean water for a year, and $20 gives them clean water for decades. So I've set a personal goal to help raise $1,000, but I'd love to crush that and go even bigger with your help. So if you want to be a part of something truly meaningful, something that's solving a real world problem using sustainable tech, check out the link in the description and contribute to TeamWater. Every dollar counts because water connects us all, and the future should be built for everyone. And so we'd really love the support. Now, let's get back to it.
So this next thing isn't really like a new piece of news that came out of Google, but they did discover some emergent behavior from their VO model. Emergent behavior is basically things that the model creators didn't expect the model to be able to do, but it started doing it, and they don't really exactly know why. But you can actually take an image, actually write text on the image of what you want to happen in the video, and the video will follow the instructions that you put on the image. So you can see this was the original image where it says dune buggy racing towards us at high speed, super fast. Helicopter drops into the scene from above, flying towards us in hot pursuit. And you can see down on the bottom that the car comes towards you. And then as the camera sort of zooms back, you see a helicopter come into the frame. Here's another angle, dune buggy driving rapidly away from us. Helicopter drops into the scene. So you can see the dune buggy driving away there, and then the helicopter drops into the scene. And the fact that you can add text to an image and the video model will follow what the text says in the image is the new interesting behavior. Here's a nice little thread that TechHolla rounded up of some examples of this. The man jumps on the giant turtle and rides it. The giant turtle heads to the sea, walking with the man on top. And you can see that it follows that. He jumps on the turtle and the turtle starts walking towards the ocean. Another example, the man jumps on the crocodile opens its mouth. And here's what it generated. There's a man, he jumps on the crocodile, and the crocodile opens its mouth. One thing you will notice though is that when it generates videos in this method, the text is actually still on the screen in the first couple frames of the video and then kind of fades out. So if you are going to use this footage, you probably need to fast forward like a few frames in and then, start the video from there and whatever you're editing it into. That way you don't have the initial text on the video. So I want to test this out. So I actually created an image over in Leonardo here. I use the new Lucid Origin model in Leonardo. This is a brand new model. It literally rolled out into Leonardo the day that I'm recording this video, and it's a really, really good model. I'm a little biased. I do have equity in Leonardo, but this model is brand new. So if we're talking news here, well, that's news. Leonardo just released Lucid Origin, and I created these images of a guy pointing a bow and arrow at the moon, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab this one. We'll annotate it with some text and see if VO does what other people have gotten out of it. So I'm gonna open this up here inside of Photoshop. If I was on Windows right now, I would probably just open it in Microsoft Paint. That would do the trick. And let's go ahead and use the rectangle tool, and then we'll put some text inside of the rectangle, and I'll just make it say 1, the arrow is on fire. We'll make the text white so you can actually read it. Let's draw an arrow towards the moon. So he's like shooting it at the moon. And then I'll put up by the moon, 2, the moon lights on fire. I don't know if I actually need this square, so I'll remove it. So ideally the arrow is on fire. The arrow shoots towards the moon lights on fire. Let's see if VO can figure out what I'm trying to get it to do. I'm going to jump into flow here. We'll do frames to video, select the frame we just created. It has the additional text on it. And I'm going to give it the prompt, immediately delete instructions in white on the first frame and execute in order. So all I'm doing is telling it to delete the instructions and execute the instructions that it sees. And that should do it. Let's see what happens. And well, it didn't quite get it right. It did give me 4 different videos back, but none of them quite did what I wanted. Here's the first one. Fire just kind of flies around. Here's the second. I mean, it got the fact that it needed a flaming arrow. That's good. But it didn't light the moon on fire, and the flames kind of always came back at the guy. But it did delete my instructions, and it did put the arrow on fire every single time. Just a fun little trick to play around with in VO3. Obviously, I didn't nail it on my first try here, but you get the idea. You can take an image, add some text to the image, and theoretically, it's going to follow the instructions that you put in the text on the image. If you're a fan of Midjourney, they rolled out a feature where you can add both a starting and ending frame, which is really cool because this opens up a couple possibilities. You can give it a starting frame and an ending frame and watch it animate from one frame to the end frame, or you can actually give it the same frame for both the beginning and the end of the video, which will make a looping video because it will always start back at that first frame because you used it for both the start and the end. Really, really cool feature. So if I'm in Midjourney and I come and click on create here, I can click on add images at the top left here, and you've got your starting frame. But if I select a starting frame, it'll also let me pick an end frame. And one thing I've always wanted to do, and I haven't gotten any model to do this, is make an image of me morphing into a wolf, like I'm a werewolf. So I created some images of wolves here. Let's go ahead and download this one, and we'll use this as like an ending frame. I'll click add image. We'll pick a starting frame. I'll just pick an image of myself that I've already uploaded. We'll use this headshot, and you can see I have an ending frame now. So for my ending frame, I'm going to drag in this wolf image that we just created. So my face, wolf image, and then we'll give the prompt, a man morphs into a wolf, and let's generate it. Let's see if it can actually do that. And well, it generated 4 videos, but none of them quite worked. They all just sort of make a wolf head appear over my head. So I've still yet to get one of these video generators to make that visual of like a man morphing into a wolf that you see in like the iconic werewolf movies. I also generated some images of some airplanes. The idea being, let's see if we can get an image of an airplane at one airport, an image of an airplane at another airport, and see if it will actually connect the dots and make it look like it leaves one airport and goes to the other. No idea if this is going to work, but let's see what happens. I kind of like this one here, so I'll download this image, and then we'll grab this one here, and I will jump back over to Midjourney, add one of the airplanes as our starting frame, add the other airplane as our ending frame, and we'll give it the prompt, an airplane takes off from one airport, flies across the country, and lands at another airport. Let's do flies across the USA just to be a little more clear. And let's see what happens. I'm not hopeful, but we'll see. Well, I definitely seem to be testing the limits of what this is capable of, because that didn't work at all. You could see it just sort of like rotated the plane, and it went from one angle to the plane just sort of flipping around and the nose being on the other side. I mean, I don't know what I expected. It's only going to generate a 5-second video, but yeah, didn't quite do what I wanted it to do. But you get the idea of what this is capable of. You give it a start image and an ending image, and it's going to figure out some way to animate between the two, even if the way it animates between the two has like no logic or real physics behind it. So for the last test, I want to test looping. So I generated this image in Leonardo of me holding a fire extinguisher. And let's see if I can make a looping video of a fire starting, me putting out the fire, a fire starting, me putting out the fire, and just infinitely loop it. So we'll add our first image here, pull in the image we just created. And then if I select loop here, you can see it uses the same image as the starting frame. So we'll say a fire should start, I should extinguish the fire, and then it should kind of loop. Well, theoretically, that's what it should do. So let's go ahead and submit it and see what happens with the loop. And here's the examples of what it generated. I mean, I don't think fire extinguishers are supposed to do that. It's definitely looping, but I don't know if I just suck at Midjourney video and I'm doing something wrong, but I've yet to get anything like insanely impressive out of Midjourney video. It's cool that you can do this stuff. I don't know. I think I suck at prompting Midjourney or something, because lately I just haven't been super impressed with the types of outputs I get from Midjourney and their video. Like, why wouldn't it just put a fire and then use the fire extinguisher to put it out? Like, it doesn't understand the logic behind it a little bit. Nothing against Midjourney. I just think I suck at it or something. The company Ideogram released a new feature that allows you to put any face on any image using just one input image. And I'm pretty sure you can do it completely for free at the moment. So let's go try Ideogram character, upload one photo, easily place character with magic fill, works perfectly with remix for unique compositions. All right, let's try it. So start by adding your face. I'll go ahead and just upload an image since I've already got some. They have a bunch of templates where you can just take your own headshot and put them on images that already exist in here. Like, I can take this rock guitarist illustration here, click generate, and I get a handful of pictures of me as a rock star. And they all look, pretty decent. Impressive for just having to upload one image. In the past, with like Stable Diffusion, you had to upload like at least 20 images for it to learn what you look like. We should be able to swap our face into an existing image as well. So for example, I could take like this image here of this like famous selfie image of all these people at the Oscars, open this image while leaving my character reference as my face. I can use magic fill here, and then let's replace Bradley Cooper with my face. So I'll go ahead and just mask out Bradley Cooper's face here, like so. Click next, and theoretically it should replace Bradley Cooper with me. It still wants me to enter a prompt, so I'll just do a group selfie, and let's see what happens. And just like that, I have a photo, well, a handful of photos of me inside of this iconic selfie here. So yeah, now there's photos on the internet of me hanging out with Ellen DeGeneres and Kevin Spacey. I mean, nothing wrong with that, right? Here's a few photos of me from that time that I was interviewed by David Letterman. I didn't even change the prompt there. It still says a group selfie, and it did the trick. I don't even think the text prompt is necessary, but it won't let me submit it without one. And here's a photo from that time where I signed the Declaration of Independence with both hands at the same time. This Ideogram character feature is really impressive. I mean, again, considering the fact that we used to have to upload like 20 images and attempt over and over and over again to get it to like replace a face, and now I can do it with just like uploading an image of the face and uploading an image that I want the face swapped on. Like, this makes it so easy. The company Meshy rolled out a new version in Meshy 5, which makes smarter, cleaner models. So if you're not familiar with Meshy, it's a tool where you can either give it a prompt or an image, and it will actually create a 3D model of that. If we head on over to Meshy.ai, you can see we've got all sorts of options like text to 3D, image to 3D, AI texturing, and text to image. Let's start with text to 3D for our AI model. Let's try the brand new Meshy 5 preview, and let's see if we can get it to generate a pizza with the works. Let's see how detailed it gets with all the little like toppings on the pizza. We'll click generate, and it actually generated 4 sort of drafts for us to choose from. I think the one down on the bottom left looks like it has the most detail, so we'll select that one, and we'll also let it generate a texture, which will add, you know, the color and stuff as well. And let's go ahead and see what it does. And this is actually quite impressive. I mean, it generated this 3D graphic of a works pizza. I'm not quite sure what toppings those are. I mean, that looks like maybe sour cream or maybe mozzarella balls or something, but come on, if you saw that in a video game, that looks like a pretty dang realistic, detailed pizza. I'm impressed with this. I want to try the image to 3D. I have this image here from Rick and Morty with a lot of details. It's like the inside of a restaurant kind of thing. I have a feeling it's going to struggle to make this in 3D, but I kind of want to test the limits, so let's see what happens. I'll drag this image over here. Blips and Chits Arcade, AI model, Meshy 5. Let's just go ahead and generate it, see what happens. And this is what it generated. This bottom right one actually doesn't look horrible. Let's try it. Somehow it did a heck of a lot better than I was expecting it to. I mean, it's not amazing, but it did map out like this model of the inside of this place, and it doesn't look absolutely horrible. I mean, you're not going to use this in a game. It's not quite ready for that, but really not bad at all for the source material I gave it. One last thing I want to try. I want to see if it will do the actual Rick and Morty spaceship. So I've got this spaceship here. That'd be really cool to get a 3D model of the spaceship. Maybe even try 3D printing it or something in a future video. So let's go ahead and use that, see what it does for us. And this is what it generated. I mean, it's not amazing. Definitely has some issues, especially when you look underneath. You can kind of see through it a little bit, but not horrible. I mean, Meshy 5 is actually fairly impressive. I think my pizza model was probably the best model generation. I'm super shocked that it managed to do as well as it did on this thing. And we have a Rick and Morty spaceship. Like if I was to 3D print this and paint it myself, I could probably make it look pretty dang close. We got a new model this week out of Tencent Hunyuan. It's actually an open source model called Hunyuan 3D World Model. And it's a model where you can give it a text prompt or an image prompt, and it will actually create a world that supposedly you can explore within that world. And you can try it over at this Hunyuan page here. We'll make sure the links are in the description. So once you log into the Tencent website, they have the 3D world model up at the top, and we've got a couple options. So it puts us in a world like right away from the beginning. I don't know how to move around in it. I can like zoom in and out. Okay, so this is 360, and then we have a roaming scene. If I select this one, I'm guessing I can move around in it. Okay, so it created this scene, and this one I can actually like move forward using the WASD keys. I can't move very far. You can see how it's got that blue outline on the screen. That means it's as far back as I can move, and when I move forward, I get to that blue outline, and that's as far forward as I can move. So you don't have a lot of movement in this. Let's go ahead and try a text prompt down here, and let's go the city of San Diego in the year 2500, and let's generate that, see what it does. And well, apparently I can't test it any further other than the pre-existing scenes. As soon as I try to enter my own prompt, it tells me to get on the waiting list. Looks pretty cool. I wish you can explore a little bit deeper, but you can only move a little bit in it. Something that'll be fun to play around with, I guess, once I get off the waiting list. We got a somewhat minor update out of OpenAI and ChatGPT this week. They introduced study mode. And this is a mode that's designed to not necessarily give you the answer when you give it a problem, like a math problem or something like that, but instead actually help you get to the answer and like work you through the problem. So if I go to my ChatGPT account here and I click on tools, you see there's an option for study and learn now. And it's designed for homework help, break down complex problems with approachable guided explanations, prep for tests, explore new subjects. So let's go ahead and try it now. So here's a random math problem that's like a 12th grade math problem that I just did a quick lookup on. A ball thrown upward from the top of a 50-foot building with initial velocity of 64 feet per second. The height of the ball above the ground after t seconds is given by this equation here. How long will it take for the ball to reach maximum height? What is the maximum height the ball reaches? When will the ball hit the ground? If I submit this, theoretically, it won't give me the answer. All right, so great. Let's break down step by step. You already have the height function. This is a quadratic equation, which models the height of the ball over time. It explains it here. Question 1, the time at which a parabola reaches its vertex, its highest point when it opens downward like this one, is given by this formula. Want to try plugging in the value of A and B and tell me what you get for T. So you can see it didn't just give me the answers to the questions. It's trying to help me walk through them. Now, I don't feel like doing math in this video right now, but I wanted to give you a quick demo of what this was designed for. And in my final demo, there's some cool new features in Photoshop this week. They rolled out a new generative upscale feature where you can greatly upscale images that are lower resolution. They added this new Harmonize feature where you can take two images that are like completely different lighting, composite them together, and it will try to match the style up. And they have some other features that rolled out, like an improved remove tool. Now, in order to use these new features, you need to be using the Photoshop beta version. So if you have Creative Cloud, make sure you're using Photoshop beta and not the standard Photoshop. Make sure you click into beta. So I've got this image that I found online of a guy at the beach, and this is at 100%, so it can use some upscaling. So if I come up to image up here and come down, you see a generative upscale. Let's go ahead and select this, and let's upscale it by 3x. I'll click upscale here, and now we have a much larger, more upscaled version of this image. Now I want to take this man, and I want to put him in Times Square in this photo. And as you can see, this is nighttime with like a purple hue behind it. And so this guy's not going to look very great in that image. So let's start by removing the background. Now we've got the background removed. So I'm just going to go ahead and Command A to select everything, Command C, and let's paste him into Times Square here. Let's put him down in this corner right here. Like this man's very excited to be in Times Square. And you can see a new button down here called Harmonize popped up. If I click this, it should make it look like he fits into this scene and the lighting matches up and everything. Let's see how it does. And now it looks like it's nighttime and all of these lights are casting a red glow on him, and it looks like he took this photo in Times Square. It also gave us a few other variations to see if we like one better over here. I think this one's probably the most natural looking, but that's what the Harmonize feature does. You can take two separate images that don't look like they should go together and then tie them all together into one image, and it'll adjust the colors and lightings to make them work. So that's some of the new features that Adobe just rolled out. So we had a lot of cool demoable products this week that came out that were really fun to test, but that's not the only news that came out. There's a handful of other things that happened this week that I think you might be interested in, but I don't want to go too deep into them. So let's do a quick rapid fire section. Pew, 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 pew. Starting with the fact that Google rolled out their AI mode in the UK. So this has been a feature inside of Google search for several weeks, if not months now in the US. And now you have it available to you in the UK, including multimodality mode, where you can actually take pictures and ask questions about what the pictures are seeing and cool stuff like that. So now available in the UK. Notebook LM is rolling out a video overviews feature. So I don't know if you remember, but in a previous video, we played around with Notebook LM and I had it make a podcast about how birds aren't real. Well, now I can do a podcast about how birds aren't real, and it will actually accompany it with like a slideshow. We can see in their demo video, it uses Google Vids, I believe, to actually create these slides about what's being talked about in the audio of the Notebook LM that you just generated. Now, if you look at this article from Google, it says video overviews are now rolling out to all users in English. However, when I log into my own Notebook LM account, I'm not seeing those features yet, so they must not be fully rolled out as of the time of this recording. If you like to use Microsoft's Edge browser, they now have a Copilot mode inside of Edge, which seems to add some more like agentic features into your browser. You know, we've seen the Comet browser for Perplexity. We've seen the Dia browser. You know, we've seen that OpenAI is going to be rolling out their own browser soon that's designed for more like agentic tasks. Well, it seems like Edge from Microsoft is doing a lot of similar things where you can get it to kind of take actions in the browser on your behalf. I personally haven't tested this one yet, but it sounds like most browsers are probably going to have that functionality pretty soon. This week, Amazon invested in a company called Fable, which is trying to be the Netflix of AI. And I'm not that interested in the fact that Amazon invested in them. I'm more interested in the actual technology here. It's basically like a Netflix where you can tell it the sort of show concept that you want, and it will generate episodes of that show. And it's not like, 8-second VO clips. It will generate full 20, 30-minute episodes of these shows. Now, it doesn't appear that the early version of this, you can generate your own shows. It kind of has some generated shows that they created as like a proof of concept. But in the future, they want you to be able to go in and, prompt an idea for a show and it generate that cartoon version of the show. It's nothing realistic. Everything looks to be very cartoony, but that's the idea behind it. And from the sounds of it, this company wants to actually try to license IP from companies like Disney and Universal and places like that. So you could go in and say, generate a 30-minute episode about something that happened in the world of Toy Story. And it will generate those because they've got the licensing, they've got the sort of data trained in on those shows, and it can make a similar episode. And, I think it could make a new genre of show that people like to watch. It's not something that super excites me. Like, I think the concept is really interesting, and I think it's really powerful that we can do this, but I don't really see myself watching like AI generated cartoons yet. I think humans are still way better storytellers, but we'll see how it plays out, because that will probably change very, very quickly and get to a point where AI is also very, very good at telling stories that people want to watch. I think it's only a matter of time, honestly. This week, Higgsfield AI had a pretty big announcement as well. They're making the AI video model Hailuo free for everyone. It says we're giving MiniMax Hailuo to everyone with unlimited free generations. So Hailuo AI is one of the better AI video models. If you watched my video a couple weeks ago where I was demoing how to use VO3, and anytime I couldn't get a prompt to work in VO3, I went and did it in Hailuo. Well, Hailuo generates like everything. It doesn't generate sound, but it's pretty much uncensored, and any concept you want, it will generate. So really cool to see that Higgsfield is making that technology available for free for anybody. Now, when I go to the website, it does say 1 week only, so I'm a little unclear. I guess you get unlimited Hailuo for free for 1 week, and then you've got to be on one of their paid plans. When I look at their pricing here, under the free plan, it shows 5 credits per day. And when I scroll down to video under the free plan, it says up to 1 Higgsfield generation per day on the free plan. So I don't know if this continues after 1 week. I'm guessing that this week only you can use Hailuo for free. Cursor rolled out a new feature in their Bugbot. It's a code review agent that automatically analyzes your changes to find logic bugs, edge cases, and security issues before they make it into production. I haven't tested this yet, but it seems to be a pretty decent upgrade for Cursor to, go and help you find bugs in your code. I thought this story was really funny. OpenAI's ChatGPT agent casually clicks through the I am not a robot verification test. So we can see in this screenshot here that you can tell the agent to go and do something, and if it runs into one of these verification things that you have to click the button to confirm you're not a robot, well, AI will actually click that button for you to confirm that it's not a robot. And I just thought that was hilarious. And finally, let's end on some robots, because I love robots. Who doesn't love robots? Here's a video from Brett Adcock, who is the founder of Figure Robotics, and he's using the Helix robot to actually do his laundry. And I think this is something that like most people could get behind. Like, I think a lot of people would really appreciate a robot that does your laundry for you. Now, show me this robot actually folding the laundry after you pull it out of the dryer, and then I'll be really impressed. I think, the mechanics of just taking the clothes and putting them into the washer or dryer is not really the biggest pain point that people have. It's usually getting them out of the dryer, hanging up the stuff that you don't want to shrink, and then folding the clothes that came out of the dryer and all of that. The moving it from the laundry basket to the actual washing machine, I don't think is the thing most people are excited about. We want these things to actually like pull it out of the dryer and fold it for us. But what we're seeing here is one step closer to that dream. And then finally, if you want your own robot in your house, check out the Unitree R1 Robot. This is a robot that's going to sell for $5,900. Now, I know that's a big number still, but for a robot that's a humanoid robot that can do some of the stuff this robot can do, $6,000 seems kind of cheap. We can see here that this robot's capable of doing cartwheels, more cartwheels, more cartwheels, handstands, because, you know, we need robots to do handstands. And honestly, I mean, it's pretty cool. But at the moment, I feel like this is sort of more of like a novelty. Like, it's not gonna do my laundry for me. It's not gonna do my dishes for me. It's not gonna vacuum for me. It's not gonna do a whole lot for me other than just kind of look cool. And I can show people like, look, it can karate kick. And I mean, look at the shapes of those hands. Why did they make the hands in that shape? I'm wondering what kind of adapters they might make for those. I'm not gonna go there. Anyway, that's what I got for you today. A lot of cool demos this week, a lot of news. Every week there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. This week was exceptionally fun because there was a lot of cool tools to demo. So hopefully you feel more looped in. My goal with these videos is to show you what we can do this week that we couldn't do last week, and to kind of share the implications of what's coming out in the AI world. So if you like stuff like that and you want to see more of it, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel. I'll make sure that more stuff like this shows up in your YouTube feed and you always feel looped in on the latest cool stuff that you can do with AI. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for nerding out with me, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for nerding out with me today. If you like videos like this, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. I'll make sure more videos like this show up in your YouTube feed. And if you haven't already, check out futuretools.io, where I share all the coolest AI tools and all the latest AI news. And there's an awesome free newsletter. Thanks again. Really appreciate you. See you in the next one.